Jimmy, how are you?
I'm a happy camper today. First
Yes.
time, first time in a while I've been on the show for any significant time.
Well, that makes a difference. We love to hear from you. I love your insights. You and I are so different, and I'm sure the audience loves to hear your insights too.
Well, we
You
got a
know,
lot to talk about. So I
yeah,
know you did some numbers that are interesting. So
sure. Um, the people who are moving to Las Vegas is much different than the number of people who are moving to other parts of this uh, United States of America. And the estimate of how many people move to Las Vegas every hour in 2024 to me is just unbelievable. So I used data from the UNLV's Center for Business and Economic Research, and I did a calculation. They said that in 2023 there were 41,900 people who moved here. And then they said, let's assume a similar rate of migration in 2024. Well, we can calculate that, Jimmy, which is pretty cool. And these are new residents. We're not talking about the people who left. These are new residents. And the annual migration of 41,900 is 115 a day when you divide that number by 365. Then when you take that number, which is 115 people per day, and divide it by 24 hours, you get 4.8 people per hour moving to Las Vegas. I find that just to be unbelievable. What are your thoughts?
well, my thoughts are a flywheel effect on this. When people come here, then they bring other people here. When I moved here, my parents moved here after I did because they wanted to be close to the grandkids. And both NAR and Brian Buffini say that people move to be closer to family. So every time a family comes here, that it just makes it that much more attractive for the next family. And it seems like every week, at the very least every month, I read about a new company that just opened their headquarters here. I read about one company this last week. They opened their headquarters. They moved it from California to here because of the tax structure and because the people that work for them liked it here better. So those companies bring some of these people, but these people bring some people.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that trailing effect for sure. Um, and this is kind of a lead into, our market is so robust. Um, and I just wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And we have over 200 new subdivisions. And Jimmy, you want to talk about the new home market for a second?
Well, let me cap on what you just said a minute ago. We are up in transactions after 2 years in a row of being down. We're up on transactions, and you and I did some numbers. The number of licensees is down by about 5% over 2022. So there's less agents chasing actually more deals. Finally, we finally turned the corner. So it's a little bit encouraging looking at those numbers that you pull up. And as far as the new home market goes, new projects up 2%. We don't need a bunch of new subdivisions, but we do need more houses in subdivisions, and permits are up 17%. That's the number that's the leading indicator. How many permits are they pulling? That's an important one.
I agree, because we need more homes, obviously.
Yep. Every city in the country is housing short.
And I don't know of any other place in the country that has 200 new subdivisions in progress.
No, our housing stock is the youngest in the country. People move here. I just read about a house that was built in 1895, and I think it was Baltimore, and it was all rehabbed. And the article was, "What does $1 million buy you around the country?" And it was a 2,000 square foot historic home built in 1895 for $1 million, and I think it was Baltimore.
And how many square feet did you say? Like 1,200 or something?
2,000.
Oh, 2,000. Yeah.
So it's not a small place, but it's not huge either.
Correct. And rehab, hopefully the plumbing, and I mean, all those things have to be changed out for new plumbing, new roofs.
Two of the places that were on the market for $1 million were both 1,000 square feet in different cities. New York City was like 1,100 square feet for $1 million, and Toronto, Canada, 1,000 square feet for $1 million. Now it had a little balcony, but it was very small. But $1 million, I mean, depending on where you're looking, Even some stuff in Australia. They had some Australia real estate. If it's in Sydney, it's $1 million.
Wow, that's something, huh? I think Australia is one of the markets where building is easier than in other countries. Now, when it comes to the United States, it's per state. And I know that building in California is very a complex. Everybody and their brother in the bureaucracy has their hand out to get a piece of that pie. So it takes forever to get a subdivision approved.
I had dinner with my grandson this weekend at the Mirage because they're closing, and my daughter, that was her first real job, is room reservations at the Mirage, and so we went there for a kind of a swan song. And he works for NV Energy, and he was telling me that Apex is probably really going to be slowed down because to order the power stations, the parts in the power station, there's a 3-year lag for them to get the parts. If they ordered them 3 years ago, they could build an Apex now. But there are people in Apex that want to build these warehouses. They weren't far enough planned ahead. And you talk about California being a challenge. It's not so much our city or our state or county, but NV Energy just doesn't have the equipment, and they can't just. It's not on the shelf. You have to order it custom made. So
Wow.
that's gonna impact the growth of the industrial warehouse. And we talked about this on the show previously. There's only a 2% vacancy factor in an industrial warehouse. 2%.
That's
It's
it.
really tight, and they just can't build a whole lot of stuff, at least not at Apex.
I wonder if that's going to increase the solar power that we put here.
Maybe that might be the trailing effect. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that if I was a company and I wanted to move here and it was going to save me hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, I might reach out to the solar idea. I don't know if you've been past I-15 going to California where they have that huge field of solar.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Who does that power?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Every time I go past it, I think I'm going to find out, and then I don't.
There's one out in Boulder City too. There's two of them. There's one on the way to California. There's one on the way to like Bullhead City. There's another solar field out there.
Yeah. The Republican National Convention was last night, and they had many people who came on stage and talked about, the economy and housing affordability. And our prices have gone up. They've gone up. Last year, what was the median price? $450 at the end of the year. And now we're up to $475, $480, depending on, if you're looking at Clark County or you're looking at North Las Vegas, Henderson, and Las Vegas area. The prices are up in the 480s, and it seems like they're edging up higher. So that affects affordability, and that was one of the main topics. And the counterpunch by the Democrats, Jimmy, I think what did they say?
Well, their response was they were going to have Biden get the government to make building easier and look for affordable housing. And like you said, the RNC at their convention, they're going to try to make things look as bad as possible. So they get rid of the Democrats that are in office. They want to take over whatever they can. So yeah, they're going to have a town hall where people complain about the economy and everything else.
I think one of the bill basically says that they're trying to propose is that they're going to cap rents. They're going to do.
You did say it was companies that own 50 or more units.
Yes.
So the small mom and pop investor that has 5 or 10 rental houses, they're not going to be impacted by this because all those small mom and pop owners, they got a lot of votes. How many companies out there have more than 50 units, and how bad is that going to hurt them at the voters' ballot? If it's going to make them look like they're saving people and going after the fat cats to do it.
Well, yeah, and I think of the 50, there's 20, the 50 people that have 50 units. I think it's 20 million. I forgot that for a second. 20 million rentals will be affected by that 5% cap. And if those investors don't abide by that new proposed law, they will lose their housing deductions when they file their income taxes.
Well, and everybody knows that if I take depreciation, I don't have to spend $1 to get $1 write-off, but I have to recapture that when I sell the property. So it's not like they're giving me, something forever.
Exactly.
They're giving it to me short term so I can reinvest that money and keep the economy strong. But at some point, when I sell those properties, I'm going to have some pretty strong capital gains recapture that I've got to. This is my profit now.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the average here is about 1,350. Let's say 1,400. So a 5% cap would mean it couldn't go over what, 1,480?
Yeah, $65. 65
$65.
bucks. Yeah, it's less than 100. They can't raise your rent from 14 to 1,500.
Yeah. Normally, I know, we manage a couple hundred properties, and the owners always want to know when somebody moves out, how much can we increase the rent or whatever. And even the people that want to stay in the home, but sign a new lease, the owners want the rent increased. We try to keep it at a very reasonable price. First of all, we don't want to lose, the current tenant, especially when they're good tenants. And we want to make the properties marketable so that we continue to get good tenants. So we don't like to increase the rents too much.
It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah, it really is. Today, we're not going to do the stats. I'll do those another day this week. But we do know that, the sales are up 10 more sales per day than last month. At least that was as of Friday. So I would imagine that's hanging in there. But the Fannie Mae put out a report. And let's see, we want to look at that report. Okay. Where to go? Hide that. There it is. Okay, let's see if we can't get that up there.
Did you say it's 100 pages or something like that?
92 pages, and I will. I made a PDF out of it, so I will make sure everybody gets a copy of it. There are some good things in there, but it's a lot of information, as you and I were discussing, for somebody to digest. If I can't put it up there. You show me. Hide that. I did it. I'm getting smarter my old age. So this is an executive summary by Fannie Mae, and it's got some interesting details that might help you, Jimmy. My whole thing was, if I was planning next year or what I was going to do the next 6 months, I want to take into consideration several factors. One is that they're really thinking seriously about a possible rate cut before September, and that was in the news yesterday. We'll see. It hasn't happened yet. Jerome Powell is going to give his talk at the end of July, and the rumors are, and it's just a rumor because I haven't heard it firsthand, that he may do a rate cut. Now, I think we were at 6.9 this week. We came down from 7, the high was 7.25. We came down to 6.9, I believe. So if we get down around 6.5, everybody better be ready, because it's going to bring people out of the woodwork to buy homes, don't you think?
Well, anything below 7 is news. I think we've got to get below 6 for people to really come out of the woodwork. But the people that are in the market already are, they're encouraged by the fact that it's come down, for sure.
Yeah. Now this particular slide says that this was as of June of 2024. That in 2023, 2% felt very good about it being a good time to buy, and 17% were somewhat encouraged to buy. So, that's a lot different than back in 2018 when we had 62% that were said, oh, it's a reasonable time to buy.
Yeah, it's
So
1 out of 5 versus 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 said in 2018, yeah, it's a good time to buy, or a very good time, either good or very good. 3 out of 5 said, yeah, let's buy a house. Now it's only 1 out of 5.
correct, yeah. So that's an interesting stat. Um, and I think, when you read into some of these things, Jimmy, this means that people haven't been buying homes like they were in 2018.
Well, I am encouraged by the fact that the numbers are up a little bit this year instead of down, because we went down for 2 years in a row pretty significantly. So the fact that we're up is encouraging.
Yes.
Because we're up with this interest rate and with the inventory challenge, we're still up.
Yes, yeah. And then consumers are feeling the impact of the current economic climate, including elevated housing costs, and expressing uncertainty about the financial situations. And there's a notable increase in the share of consumers voicing concerns about their finances in the past 5 years, 2018 to 2023. So it's interesting here. How often does this statement apply to you? And this was, I guess, the survey they took. 27% say my finances control my life. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. I'm not surprised. Are you?
No, 1 out of 4. I think that's actually a low number.
And then I'm concerned that the money I have or will save won't last. And that's 35%. And that's some real concern, I think. And then because of my money situation, I feel I will never have the things I want in life. That's 21%. Well, maybe they need to get a job. I don't know. But
well, I'm surprised those numbers are that low. Of all the things that you showed me on this earlier, this is the one I trust the least.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if people were telling the truth, right? Or they didn't survey enough people, but I think that they had a minimum number of people they surveyed, so that answered all these different questions. And then 74% of consumers plan to buy on their next move, and that includes 43% of current renters. I think, man, if I'm out there in this business today and I'm not communicating with people who are renting homes and putting that in my savings data bank, I don't know. What do you think, Jimmy?
Well, that's a lot of renters that are going to buy a house. I think that the statistic next to that, when the 25% plan to buy a home in the next 3 years, if 74% of consumers really plan to buy in their next move, the average person moves every 8 to 10 years. So that doesn't look as big a number to me as this 25% plan to buy a home within the next 3 years. We have 300 million people in the United States. So we have about 100 million families. So that would be 25 million families buying a house in the next 3 years. That would be 8 million a year. We're only selling about 5 million houses a year. That would be a 60% increase in sales. If that works out the way, that's a 60% increase in sales. That's huge.
Well, it's really huge because we have a housing shortage.
Yeah, where are they going to find the house? That's true.
Yeah, that's another situation. And then here's something that agents can learn from this and possibly create some content around this. Only 32% are familiar with low down payment programs. So that means that you've got 68% of the people out there that aren't really cognizant of all the low down payment programs. And on our last show, we showed how many, what are there, 2,000 different programs in Nevada alone. And I mean, if you want to just do a weekly video and just tell people, here's the program of the week. I mean, you could go, or 2 programs of the week. You'd never run out of content, and eventually you're gonna hit the hot button on somebody who says, "Oh, that would work for me."
Well, and I think the fact that you can quote this statistic from Fannie Mae, according to Fannie Mae, most people actually know who Fannie Mae is. I think not just people in real estate, but according to Fannie Mae, 2 out of 3 people are not familiar with low down payment programs. And according to DPR, which is the down payment resource website, according to the DPR website, there's over 2,000 down payment assistance programs available today. And so if you'd like more information, but you're quoting two statistics. It's not you as a realtor saying it, it's Fannie Mae and the down payment resource website. That's where you're getting the data.
And yeah, and then it says, yeah, which is a very trusted source. And then only 40% are aware of counseling services available to help them with the mortgage process. Among those who are aware, 63% say they would likely use those services. So, I mean, there's a great statistic for you to get on your podium and start spewing out content about these programs. And especially, and I think part of my enthusiasm for all this is I really believe the rates are going to come down.
Well, so you want to start doing your credit report now?
Yes. You want people to know, like, and trust you. And it takes like 2-3 months sometimes of consistent content that people learn from, and they don't want to just thumb past you. They want to say, oh, I wonder what Teresa's program of the week is, or programs, whatever. I think you'd have to tell them more than one. There's so many.
Well, we talk about this all the time. Dig the well before you're thirsty. If you don't have a credit counseling company in your back pocket that you could recommend or refer, you need to start working on that, because if they find out that 40% are aware, that means 60% are not aware of counseling services. And if they did find out, 63% said they would likely use those services. That's a pretty big number. They think that we sell real estate, but we help people get ready to buy real estate too. That would be getting ready before they're out there looking.
And in the next, this is the 16th of July, and August 17th is when we have to make sure that we have informed the buyer of how much it's going to cost them now, either with help from the seller or a closing cost help, whatever it is. But, when you start thinking of all the things that you help people with, this is a huge thing that you're going to help somebody with. It's huge, helping them get ready to buy a home. And again, but you've got to get it out on social media. If you're not on social media, you could be out of business, because that's where people are looking. And that's the other stat. I don't think I have it in the executive summary. People are looking at social media for real estate, for help on real estate. They're looking on YouTube. They're looking on Google. They're looking on all the platforms. And that's a thumb stopper, is real estate.
Well, shout out to one of our agents, Roy McCann, who's licensed in California and here. And he sent me a link to the California Association of Realtors podcast this morning. And I watched the first 40 minutes of it. And the guy that was going over the forms, the red line, California Association of Realtors forms are going to be published on their transaction desk format in a week. They're trying to beat the August 17th deadline that you talked about. But he had a red line form. And there was a box on page 1 that talked about, here's what the listing agent gets and here's what the selling agent gets. They're dealing with it at the very first part of the listing agreement. And he made the comment, this attorney was given the presentation, and he made the comment, he said, you need to understand all the things that are done for a buyer, because if a buyer comes to you and says, I know you're getting paid for marketing house, I don't want to pay you to represent me, then they don't realize what all you're helping them coordinate, the home inspection and the appraisal and the loan and the negotiating of the transaction and the walkthrough. You can't do it for free and still stay in business. So he was talking about, this is an attorney from California Association of Realtors telling the realtors in California that had logged into the program that understand you have a value as a buyer's agent and don't give it away for free.
So what was redlined, the listing agreement or the buyer broker's agreement?
All of them, but it's more. They started out on the listing agreement this morning, but they'll have different podcasts for the different documents.
Well, this is, it's a great time to get out there and show people your value. And this is a great way to do it.
Well, you need to know it first. You need to really have it down cold, because you're going to be asking them for a substantial amount of money. What makes you worth that kind of money? You got to know.
Right. Exactly. And this is just another slide here about people, the percentage of consumers who've ever seen their credit score grow from 2018 to 2023, again, 5 years, 87% to 93%. The most growth in exposure to credit scores is among Asians and those 18 to 29 years of age. So, there's some statistics too for you to share. And invite people. You can look at your credit score for free, before you go out there and look for a house or get counseling. You're going to know what you're up against, and the majority have viewed their credit score in the last year, 84%. So that's a pretty big number.
And if you don't know the website, it's myfico.com. That's the website that you can go and look at. And they like you said, they show it to you for free. They don't show it to you for free forever, I think. But the first one, I think it's every 6 months you can look at it or something like that. There's a time frame, but it's myfico.com.
And there's so many things that you can help people with when you summarize this in a video or a post on social media, and you need to tell people some way to help their credit score. Like if you've got 5 credit cards, start paying the one with the largest balance first, because the balance versus the credit line has an impact on your credit score. So you want to get rid of the ones that have, the largest percentage of balance in relationship to the amount of credit that you have on that card. So there's little tips like that people don't know. We know, we think everybody knows, but they don't know that. The next slide is mortgage requirement misunderstanding remains high. So down payment, approximately, what does that say, 90%?
Yeah, don't know. They don't know the minimum required down payment for a typical mortgage. They think it's more than 10% or 5%. They don't know you can get a 5% down loan is the point. 90% say that it's going to 10 or 15 or 20% down when it's not.
Yeah, and I think in the earlier slides, it was saying, that people didn't think they could save up enough money to buy a home, again, because they misunderstand. Nobody's educated them that you can get a 5% down mortgage, and you can get a gift letter, and you can get help from the state. There's so many different programs out there, again, to help these people. So, if this executive summary, the first several slides here, I think have so much information that you can share. And to kind of dovetail a little bit, we have 5 people moving here every hour. And that means they're buyers. They're buyers. They don't have to sell something. They're moved here. They're coming here. They're moving into Las Vegas. So, you're talking to pure buyers. And I think that the more information that you can share and the more consistent you can be, and your mindset to be enthusiastic about Las Vegas. It's such a dynamic, clean city. And we can go on about all the pluses to moving here. Jimmy, any thoughts there? I just get excited when I think of all these things. And then I think, why aren't more people doing these things?
Yeah, and I think that I was just going to look for the date. You have a workshop coming up where we talked about the most important strategy for an agent to start with is to update their profile. And you said LinkedIn first and then Google business page. So if they bring their laptop in here, you're going to spend a couple hours with people helping them get their, because if I send somebody to my website and my website is outdated, I've just shot myself in the foot.
Yes.
So I need to fix my website first and then start marketing to these people.
Yes.
And we have some real significant trainings. Do you remember what day that workshop is?
I believe it's Thursday, 3:30 to 5, something like that. I don't have it in front of me.
I got my calendar right here. I'm going to find it. I want to talk to you one of this because you're doing it for people that don't work here too.
Yes, but we only have so many spots, and you have to be live, and you have to bring your laptop, and you have to know your passwords.
That's the hard part, knowing the password.
I know.
We got 3 things going on in the next 30 days. We have that workshop that I think is very significant for somebody to come to. You and I are going to go see Brian Buffini in San Diego. And when we come back from San Diego, we're going to be pretty much on fire. We only have one sales meeting scheduled for August, and it's August 16th. And I think you and I, and maybe whoever else goes with us, can do like a panel. What'd you get out of Brian Buffini? And even if you're not with Love Las Vegas or 048, I think that's a meeting you might want to attend. And then we got the Tom Ferry webcast starts on the 27th. It's a 3-day thing, and they haven't sold you a ticket yet, but I can't believe they wouldn't have it. So We're inviting people to come in the office and, you know, have a cup of coffee with us and watch some Tom Ferry stuff. It'll be all day for 2.5 days. And you're going to, I mean, the panels that he has and the conversations that he has they're leading edge stuff. So there's a lot coming up in the next 30, 60 days that people need to be aware of.
And then we're giving the free ABR class on the 9th and 10th of September.
And that's hybrid, which means they could do it Zoom or they can come in here and do it live. Mm-hmm. And if you take it at the Association of Realtors, you can only do it live. They don't do it Zoom there. You got to go sit there for 2 days. On ours, you could take a morning and be live, and then that afternoon go work, you know, from your house, and vice versa. You can mix and match with us, and you can't do that with everybody, and it's free.
You know, Jimmy, when you tell somebody you're an accredited buyer representative, and they say, "What does that mean?" I mean, that opens the door to you being able to articulate your value.
Well, and also knowing that 95% of agents are not ABRs. You know, what it means is I'm in the top 5% as far as training goes in working with buyers. That's huge.
That's huge. And then all the things that you teach it's just 2 days of a must-have course and designation.
Once you get the designation the first year, you have to close 5 buyer sales, but they give it to you the first year. After the first year, there's dues, but you get it for the first year. You can use it in your marketing and see if it helps you.
Absolutely. And the first year is 12 months, right? Not the calendar year.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to clarify that, because I think somebody asked me that question. And then you get 12 CE credits.
Yeah. 3 agency and 9 general. Yeah.
It's like, okay, everybody. And we need at least 50 people. So we told NAR if they do it to us give it to us for free to teach, then we won't have to pay them. So I'm on the warpath to get everybody there.
Yeah. Well, they need it for their skills anyway.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Let's see what else this executive summary says. Consumer understanding of the mortgage process and requirements, as well as confidence navigating the process, remains mostly unchanged since 2018. Only 45% of consumers would feel confident going through the mortgage process, on par with 2018 confident levels. So there you go. You know, you've got younger people, less educated people, lower income individuals, and they're less likely to feel confident navigating the process. And so there you go. What a service you can provide them.
Well, the ranks of the loan officers too have really been decimated with all these changes, with the rates going up the way they did. The refi market basically went away, and that was half their business. So it's harder to find a lender that's got the time to help people. But the ones that are staying in the business, they're out there to help people. And there's less loans right now, so they're looking to make every transaction happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it says, while online resources are frequently used, consumers still consider real estate professionals to be the most influential resources for information about the mortgage process. And of course, they're saying especially lenders. Well, the biggest segue to the lender can be the real estate agent. So you need to have a really good lender in your pocket as well, Jimmy.
Yep, somebody that's got a credit repair service that's available. Here's how you work on your credit while you're waiting for you to get this loan.
Yeah, if these statistics and this information don't give you some avenue, if you will, to do this niche in the market, you know, I mean, these are actual statistics that tell you that there is a market there. So
Fannie Mae and Ruthie has given us the ammunition to be in front of people with interesting stuff. So all you got to do is copy and paste, right?
That's it. Yeah, I'm going to put this 92-page PDF in the group, both in our company and our RuthieRocks group. And then also, if you can subscribe to everything that I post, on the group, there's a subscription, and I think on YouTube as well. You just click there and you put your email in there, and then every time I post things, you will get a copy of them. Similar to what the hot sheet does, but I've been doing it for a long time. I think they copy everything I do. I tease Brian about that a lot. Byron Lozine.
Yeah.
Jimmy, let's see. One other thing that I want to talk about. I don't know this. I know if I do this, it's going to mess us up. But here we go. Yep, there you are. I don't know why they don't make it easier. Maybe Zoom is easier than this. I don't know. That's not it. Where are you, Jimmy? Okay, here we go. So what I did is I took some of the slides that I think are important, and I did a JPEG of them. So I'm going to post those as well.
Okay.
And then the market stats, we can also post some of that. So we got lots of information. And I will be doing the market stats later in the week. Probably not tomorrow. It might be, I think maybe Thursday or Friday. I like to do them either the beginning Monday or Friday. See what happened over the weekend, and then see what happened during the week. And we're already over the hump for July. It's the 16th, so
yeah.
we're in the downhill slide.
Yeah, crazy.
Any final thoughts, Jimmy?
The one document that they brought up at the CAR webinar this morning was a thing called the Broker Compensation Advisory. They released it in May. They're saying as of August 17th, it's going to be mandatory. And they're also saying they're expecting a law to get passed in California January 1st. And we follow a lot of stuff that California does. So I'm going to see if I can get Roy McCann to give me a copy of that Broker Compensation Advisory and see if it's something we can use. And if you like it, we can put it on the show or whatever.
Okay, so they're going to pass a law?
That's what they said on the show today.
And what's the law?
That not only do you have to have a buyer's broker agreement, but you need to have this broker compensation advisory form too. It explains to the consumer, here's where the money goes. Here's who's getting paid. That's my understanding. And this is the first broadcast that I've been able to see from the California Association of Realtors, because they're huge and they open it up to anybody that wanted to sign up for the webinar.
Well, and I think that should go hand in hand with the buyer brokerage requirement.
Yeah.
I really think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll see if Roy can get me a copy of it, and you and I can sit down and go through it.
Sure. Yeah, and thanks to Roy McCann. He's very helpful. He's been my friend for years and always helpful. And he did a video for me a couple of weeks ago of a home. Did an excellent job, and it's a walkthrough of a listing, and he was fantastic. So, and then he even went in and edited it, and put some text on it and some transitions. He did an excellent job. So yeah, thank you, Roy.
He's got the Buffini accent too, and that Buffini sense of humor. So he's kind of fun to talk to.
Yeah, yes, he is. Well, Jimmy, I think that's it for today.
Okay. I'll see you on the next show then.
And I'll see you later, everybody. I love you, and have a beautiful day, and stay cool.